My dear comrades, it's a shame that I have to make one of these sorts of videos again, but there has been a great injustice perpetrated by the government of the communist bloc. A dear and loyal comrade of the UPCA, Soviet Lestland, has been kicked out of the communist bloc on ridiculous grounds because of saying one word wrong in an RMB post. Comrades, take a look at this. He literally said in reference to a chain, he likes traps. That's it. He even later self-censored his post, and everything was fine for quite some time until Shamian decided to make a deal of this. Soviet Lestland was immediately branded as transphobic, ejected and banned, all for saying one word. Many people wanted him back. After this, regional moderators closed down on discussion within the RMB, trying to get us to keep it in private telegrams. Here, I brought up the point that who considers it a slur differs from person to person. Some people happily identify themselves as a trap, whilst some don't. It's too subjective, because it doesn't necessarily have negative connotations. Plus, this is over one word. If you hate the word, suppress the one post and warn the user, but outright banning a comrade for something reserved for punishing a transphobe is just plain wrong. Remember, Chairman Mao said, to treat comrades like enemies is to go over to the stand of the enemy. Hubertus said that the so-called slur was directed at a comrade, that being Achain, who himself actually has identified himself as a trap, and has even clarified that this was not something that had offended him, meaning the banning of Lesty for transphobia is completely unjustified. I decided to get into contact with the World Assembly delegate, relaying these thoughts, and asked for some evidence. To date, I have never received a reply. Upon seeing this, Achain decided to also telegram the delegate Cathania. I don't believe he ever got a response or additional evidence of Lesty's other alleged offenses either. After this, the moderation instructed us to keep all discussion and criticism of bangs off the RMB, for the sake of keeping the mess away. This enraged me, as a Maoist. Following this, I was issued with a formal warning, and was told to keep discussion and protest off the RMB, where people could see it. I responded, asking the moderation why they were hiding from criticism. Were they actually just banning it in order to save face? I decided to recite part of the Red Guard battle song. Dare to criticize and repudiate. Never stop making revolutionary rebellion. Dare to struggle, dare to win. Revolutionary rebels will never stop. We will smash the old world and keep our revolutionary state red for 10,000 years to come. Remembering clearly what Chairman Mao says, the censorship of ideas and criticism irritates me. Chairman Mao taught us the only way to settle controversial issues among the people is by the democratic method, the method of discussion, of criticism, of persuasion and education, and not by the method of coercion or repression. I mean, I would certainly say that it's a controversial topic, but made it very clear that I would prefer it if we were allowed to use the democratic method of criticism and discussion instead of repression. And to think, this is supposed to be a region supporting free speech. Unbelievable. And apparently we do, so long as we don't post this so-called rubbish. I mean, the censorship of the word trap just went mad, and made us all completely paranoid of bangs and ejection, like Soviet Lestland had to face. I voiced my opinions on why they banned, when they could just suppress. I mean, it's not like it was a common occurrence, maybe just a word that slipped out once, as if Lestland was talking on Discord or WhatsApp. I mean, this was hardly a case of harassment, and the whole thing would have gone silent and unnoticed, with nobody bothering. The fact that such drastic action was taken for such a minor offense is what makes people think this is unjust, and is what kicked up the storm. You could still not have banged Lestland, and Jade's moderators wouldn't care in the slightest. They should have just suppressed the offending post, for goodness sake. I mean, he even censored it himself. I highly doubt the Jade's moderators would care about something so little, like one guy saying the word trap. But now that all this outrage has been created, they are more likely to come over and take action. Here we see Achain himself confirming it wasn't a slur. We will not stop in this struggle until Soviet Lestland is allowed to return to the communist bloc, and the government of the region stops being so crazy. Some excellent counter-propaganda has been created, some of which I will display now. Hopefully the next video will be another Maoist song. Solidarity until then.